When you erase on the background layer, and I'm going to change my background color to something funky, it erases to the background color. If I duplicate this image though, and actually hide this bottom layer, now when I erase, I'm getting transparent. So it won't let you erase things on the background, but it will let you erase things on higher layers. So often what people will do is they'll have a transparent background layer, and then they'll work on a second layer so that they can actually get things that are transparent. Again, often for web applications. So let's undo that. I actually recommend very, very, very rarely using the erase tool. In almost every single case, it is much better to use the mask tool, which we'll get to later. Next, the paint bucket tool. Lots of people are trying to find this. It's hidden under the gradient tool. Gradient tool is not something we use very often. Even paint bucket tool is not something I recommend using. It actually works exactly the same as the magic wand tool, except instead of making a selection, it makes a fill. So if I change tolerance up to 8, and I click this area up here in the sky again, I've unchecked contiguous, so I'm going to undo that, check contiguous. It's bounded in the same way as our magic wand was to the border of those lampposts and his hand. Next, we have three. I don't actually recommend using these in almost any case. The blur tool would be good for making things like background blur. The cameras that are pretty common in schools don't have a very large aperture, which means that you don't get a lot of background blur. My picture here does have quite a bit. There's a strength up at the top, strength bar. You can increase and decrease it by clicking on the flyout wheel or actually scrubbing along the word strength. And you can see I can go back and forth there. So if I increase the strength to 100%, click and drag on his face and kind of get up close, you can see that I've blurred his face, undo, back to being sharp. Sharpen is just the opposite. If you have strength really high, it's going to look pretty terrible. You start getting stuff like that really quickly. And Smudge pushes pixels around. And this is pretty CPU intensive, so if you're working on a slow computer, I recommend avoiding this. But you get some pretty weird effects. So let us move on to dodge and burn.